Coming up in the next 30 minutes. Supreme Court strikes out injunction application filed by Old Tafo MP Vincent Asafwa against petition to remove Chief Justice Beatrice Adu. Details shortly. Also coming up, Minority Leader Alexander Apanyomak informally petitions Inspector General of Police to investigate a police constable he accuses of assaulting him during the Save the Judiciary demonstration yesterday. And much later on the program, Ministry of Foreign Affairs revokes more than 700 diplomatic and service passports as part of a nationwide recall of passports which are no longer valid for international travel. Very much for keeping your dials here on 3FM 92.7. Now, Supreme Court has struck out injunction application filed by Old Tafo MP Vincent Asafwa against petition to remove the Chief Justice Beatrice Adu. This was after lawyer for the Old Tafo MP withdrew the suit which sought the Apex Court to injunct the President from forwarding the petition to the Council of State. The Apex Court had earlier dismissed an objection by former Attorney General Godfrey Adame challenging Acting Chief Justice Paul Bafoboni's authority to preside over a case seeking to halt the suspension of Chief Justice Beatrice Adu. The former AG had argued that the acting CJ's decision to empanel himself undermined public confidence in judicial impartiality, given the case's direct bearing on both the acting CJ and the Chief Justice's positions. The applicant, Echo Vincent Asafwa, in the substantive case, petitioned the Apex Court for a declaratory judgment on the proper interpretation of Articles 1461 to 467, 23, 57.3 and 296 of the Constitution. He contended that the President is obligated to notify the Chief Justice of any removal petition and seek their response before consulting the Council of State. He also said that the President's failure to do so violated Article 1466 and compromised the Chief Justice's constitutional tenure protections. Lord Edwasare is our man in court. He'll be joining us very shortly. But ahead of that, an Accra High Court has granted the former Secretary of the Interministerial Committee on Illegal Mining, Charles Bissue, and one Andy Owusu bail in the sum of 200,000 cedis each. Now, the duo have been charged with 15 counts on corruption-related offences by the Office of the Special Prosecutor. They have been accused of abusing public office for personal gain in connection with illegal mining operations. In the first count, Mr. Bissue is accused of using his public office for profit, contrary to Section 179C(a) of the Criminal Offences Act 1960, Act 29. The court sat on the case to take the plea of Charles Bissue. Now, we'll be going to court very shortly to speak to Christian Yale. I believe he's on the line with us. Chris, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Beatrice.
Wonderful. Tell us what transpired in court today.
All right, Beatrice. So even before I come to what transpired in court today, we know that according to the charge sheet and the accusations leveled against Charles Bissue and Andy Owusu, it is alleged that Mr. Bissue received an amount of 15,000 cedis from one Benjamin Ejapon through the other accused person, Andy Owusu, forming part of the 15 counts of charges of corruption leveled against them. And so in court today, we know that both accused persons pleaded not guilty to the charges. This, the lawyers for the special prosecutor did not oppose. And we know that even on 29th April 2025, Charles Bissue himself issued a statement asserting that he had always acted in full compliance with the both legal and ethical obligations that guided the office that he held and the laws of the Republic of Ghana. As such, any suggestion of misconduct is baseless and will be vigorously challenged through due processes, following which today he has submitted his plea at the criminal court for. And so both Charles Bissue and Andy Owusu have been granted bail to the tune of an amount of 200,000 Ghana cedis each, and then they have to also provide two sureties. One of the sureties must be justified, and as part of the bail conditions as well, they have to submit their passports to the registry of the court. Beatrice.
And now, what is next? Moving forward.
Yes, so we know that the case will be heard on will be held on 29th May 2025 for what we call in legal terms case management conference, after which the following procedures would continue. But the additional information, Beatrice, is that both accused persons are also to report themselves to the office of the special prosecutor once every month. I can confirm that Charles Bissiou himself was in court. He would not speak to the media as of yet, as well as even lawyers for the special prosecutor. But this is the condition that his plea of not guilty has been accepted by the court and will be, summoned again to court on the 29th May 2025 to continue with the case management.
But for now, he and the other person, Andy, are on bail.
They are on bail to the amount of 200,000 Ghana cedis with 2 sureties, as well as one of the sureties must be justified per what the court indicated. And so this is the condition now. The other conditions, as I indicated, are that they are to submit their passports just so they may not travel outside the country within the period of the case being considered. And so they will submit their passport, the 2 of them, to the court registry, and then every month until the case is duly determined, they have to report themselves to the office of the special prosecutor for questioning and for answering as part of the processes to determining the case. But Charles Bissiou himself believes that this is a good time for the whole brouhaha that has been spanning for over the past years to be settled, and he believes that the court should be able to give fair hearing to all parties that are involved in the case, so that all of them are able to submit substantial evidence from their part to ensure that the case is determined. And he believes that he is innocent indeed, because he says any claims of misconduct, any claims of corruption as leveled against him by the special prosecutor are not true, because he was highly upholding standards and upholding ethics and obeying the laws of the land in his period as the secretary to the Interministerial Committee for Illegal Mining.
And Christian Yale, just for clarity, when you say that he's expected to be reporting to the special prosecutor, how often, for instance, in a week is he expected to do so until the next court hearing, which I believe you said 29th?
Yes, so those details are not immediately given, but what we know per the ruling of the court is that at least each time, or at least once every month, so which means that in the month of May, both accused persons have to report themselves once. For that, they have to agree with the OSC's office to know which days or which times within the month they're going to do that. But in the month of May, they report themselves once. In the month of June, they report themselves once, and it follows that order.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Christian Yale. He's our reporter there, bringing us the latest on this Charles Bissiou issue. Now, the minority leader, Alexander Apenyo-Markin, has petitioned the Inspector General of Police to investigate Constable Forson, a police officer he accuses of assaulting him during Monday's Save the Judiciary demonstration. The Afutu MP is also demanding disciplinary action against the officer. Apenyo-Markin made the request in a formal letter addressed to the IGP's office on Tuesday, that's today, May 6. The lawmaker insists that the IGP must address the incident to correct misleading narratives circulating in the public domain. It follows the police invitation to Mr. Apenyo-Markin to assist in investigations regarding a viral video showing him knocking an officer's head during the protest. In a press release dated 5th of May, the police confirmed reviewing footage of the alleged assault and had written to the Speaker of Parliament requesting Apenyo-Markin's release to aid investigations. However, shortly after the police invitation, Apenyo-Markin refuted claims that he assaulted an officer, instead alleging that he was the one attacked by Constable Forson. Noble Crosby-Annan joins me in the studio with copies of these statements, as it were. First, Crosby, just tell us, I know that Apenyo had sought to offer some explanation about what had transpired in his earlier statement.
So the explanation was contained in a 3-page statement authored by the office of the minority leader, from the office of the minority leader, essentially from the minority leader. The meat of the matter is essentially in the 4th and the 5th paragraphs. But before the 4th paragraph is the 3rd paragraph, where he's explaining how it all happened. And he says that upon arrival at Parliament House, the national organizer and other party leaders had already been granted access The deputy minority leader, Patrice Adu, and I were then invited by the party's communications director, he's talking about Mr. Richard Ayagba, to proceed and join them. Now, he asked that as we approach the barricade without any provocation, a uniformed police officer stationed behind the barricade, his name is Constable Forcing, he asked that he's a tall, fair, heavily built officer. And he says he deliberately struck the left side of my chest with full force of his right palm directly near my heart, and he asked that the impact of the hit dazed me and I was visibly shaking and short of breath. In that moment, I spontaneously protested his conduct, asking why he would seek to harm me. The inspector, who was facilitating my access along with other officers, quickly intervened and assisted me into the restricted area, where I had to lean against the wall at the entrance of Parliament House to prevent myself from collapsing. A national service personnel from Parliament, whom I know, approached and offered me water. He asked that the 2 CID officers from Parliament also came to check on me and assisted me to a nearby security restroom, where I lay down on a bench to stabilize. Now, he says that Mr. Richard Ayagba and Abuachi and then the MPP Greater Accra Regional Organizer, they stayed by his side throughout, providing support and ensuring his well-being. After regaining some composure, he was helped to the washroom to wash his face, and though still unwell, he made a deliberate effort to compose himself, calm himself down, and rejoin the leadership of the delegation to present the petition, because he was determined not to let the incident create a scene or derail the purpose of the peaceful protest. So this is the side of Alexander Payne-Markin on the incident yesterday.
But in his petition, he made some demands. What are those? So
what Alexander Payne-Markin is also asking from the Inspector General of Police is that investigations begin into the incident, as well as Constable Forcing, the thick, tall, fair man, well-built man, is also reprimanded or punished for assaulting him first. That is essentially what he's saying.
And I know these things came up as a result of that earlier statement issued by the police, indicating that it already had in its possession that supposed viral video and had examined it. Just give us more details of what the police said in that statement.
So the police in a statement on Monday, May 5, said it had extended an invitation to Payne-Markin as part of investigations. And Mr. Payne-Markin, on his part in the press statement, indicated that he had lodged a formal complaint and petitioned the Inspector General of Police to investigate and institute disciplinary action against this said policeman. Now, the police statement says that the Ghana Police Service has reviewed several video footages on an alleged assault to the police officer by Honorable Alexander Payne-Markin during the just ended demonstration. The police statement posted on social media on Monday. Following the review, the service has written to the Right Honorable Speaker of Parliament requesting the release of Alexander Payne-Markin to assist ongoing investigations into the alleged incident. The officer in question will also be assisting the investigation. That is how the statement ended.
Thank you so much, Noble Crosby-Annan, bringing us these statements coming from various quarters. We're joined by Richard Komado. He is a security consultant. Good afternoon to you, sir. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Beatrice.
I want to believe you've had the opportunity to listen to the side of the story of Alexander Payne-Markin, as well as that initial statement coming from the police administration. I mean, what's your interpretation of the two narratives and what do you expect to be done?
I think when somebody has been interdicted or has been indicted or has been involved in a crime, and the police are sure that this is a crime committed against the state, for that matter, the police do not need an invitation or they do not need a permission from their landlords in order to effect an arrest. If you bring it specifically to the demonstration we are talking about, the police have enough cameras on the ground, and those cameras have the capacity of capturing events and what people say and what people do. If the police review those videos in relation to the events that took place, and the police have come to a conclusion that one of their own has been assaulted, and to therefore they have committed a crime against the state, they don't need a permission. They just have to go ahead and do what they do best. And I'm saying that we are not the only people who are practicing policing. When issues happen and you do not know what to do, you benchmark the best practices all over the world. And this whole thing about inviting somebody, writing to seek permission, and somebody has also write to the police, I think we are jamming up the public space. and this may not speak well for the police in particular. Go ahead and do what you do best. And what do? You maintain law and order, which also involves arresting of people who have committed crime against the state. And I think that is what we need to be talking about.
So let me hear you clearly. Are you already condemning what the officer might have done based on Alpenio Markin's narrative?
Not really. I'm saying that the police have enough cameras on the ground. If the cameras captured events and captured activities or what happened at the demonstration, particular in relation to what we are talking about, and the police come to a conclusion that a crime has been committed against the state or against one of their officers, they do not need permission from any landlord to effect an arrest or to do what they do best. This whole thing about writing a letter front back might not be ordinary word, and they might be jamming the public space.
Having made that point, we are aware of the allegations that were against the police administration prior to the elections, that they could almost literally watch abuse go on and not really do much. What kind of action do you expect from them to redeem that bit of credibility that they might have lost ahead of the elections?
You see, there's one problem in this country we need to address through public engagement and public education. When people go on demonstration, they should not be seen as people who are out there to insult the police and say all manner of things against the police. On the other hand, the police people on every demonstration they covered, they must also not be seen as people who are out there against the demonstrators. In that regard, when the police people misbehave themselves, we call them out and we ask for appropriate sanctions against them. When individuals engage in continue to have this front and back, and the police credibility will begin to worsen.
Thank you so much, Richard Kumado, for speaking to us. And I had that Richard Kumado, he's a security consultant. Some 18 minutes past the hour of 12. When we come back, we'll return to the Supreme Court and bring you the decision of the court today and some other issues. Don't go away.
Hello, Ghana. It's a new year and Bill's Microcredit is here to support your dreams. If you're not working but want to start a business, don't let money stop you. With just your Ghana card, you can get a loan to turn your ideas into reality. Already running a business? Need more capital? Or are you a salary worker looking for extra funds? Bill's offers fast and easy loans with no collateral, no deposit, and no SUSI savings required. Wherever you are, whatever you need, Bills makes it happen. Call Bills Microcredit today. Call 0596 920 833 or 0302 200 390 and get started. Bills is licensed and regulated by the Bank of Ghana. Bills, financing your needs. Terms and conditions apply.
19 minutes past the hour of 12. Let's go to our earlier story about the Supreme Court dismissing that petition filed by Eko Vincent Asafwa against the suspension of the Chief Justice. Lord Adu Asare is our man in court. He joins us live on the line. Lord, I know the case has taken a sudden turn, but first tell us about the objection to the empaneling and the substantive withdrawal of the case. I'm sorry, Lord Adu Asare, off the line, or try and get to him and bring you the latest. Let's try and reconnect to Lord very briefly. Lord Adu Asare, if you can hear me, I was asking you to tell us more about the sudden turn of events in court today and also the objection to the empaneling of the court regarding this very case.
Right, Beatrice, so in court today, something significant, we realized that there had been a reconstitution of the panel hearing the suit by Old Trafford Member of Parliament Vincent Asafwa and then Emmanuel Osei Owusu. Now, led by the 5 panel of justices was the acting Chief Justice, Justice Bafo Boni. Now, the former Attorney General, I should say, Governor Yabodame, leading the Old Trafford Member of Parliament, raised objection to the acting Chief Justice presiding over the panel of justices. He indicated that it doesn't look good and justice must be seen to be given, and then as far as this case is concerned, with him presiding over the matter, it doesn't look good for the public as well. He indicated that because the matter concerns the Chief Justice, who at this juncture has been suspended, him presiding over the case as an acting Chief Justice, because in the event that the Chief Justice is removed, he's one who stands to benefit entirely. He is to recuse himself for the hearing to continue. But the AG's office, led by Deputy Attorney General Justice Ramsay, indicated that the misconception, the views being carried about by Dr. Badame are misconceptions, because as the acting Chief Justice, it is not the president that really appointed him, but it was just a constitutional provision, because as it stands, Justice Bafo-Boni is the senior most at the Justice by the Supreme Court, and so it was automatic that he becomes the acting Chief Justice. Now, after the argument, there was a short break, and then the court unanimously dismissed or overruled the objection raised by Godfred Biobadame. And then there was a second objection raised by the former Attorney General, in that he was objecting to the entire reconstitution of the panel. Now, Beatrice, one thing that you need to realize that the panel of justices today, they had only 2 concerns from the first panel that heard the matter. Now, these the only ones that were remaining was Justice Professor Henrietta Mensah Bonsu and then Justice Jewu. Now, the 3 others had been reconstituted and was now being replaced by Justice Amadou Tanko, Justice Emmanuel Kolendi, and then the Chief Justice, acting Chief Justice Bafo-Boni. So, essentially, Godfrey Badame was objecting to this and indicated that the old panel must be made to sit on the case because they started it and they must be see through it until a decision is made. If that is not made, then the new panel can be constituted. Again, the panel of justices overruled this objection. Now, back to the main case, which is the crux of the reason why we're here. Now, if you again notice, you realize that as it stands now, the Chief Justice has been suspended, and so the lawyer for the Otafo Member of Parliament withdrew the injunction application that he had made. You realize there are 2 injunctions actually. One, to stop the president from forwarding the petition to the Council of State. At this point, it's no longer relevant, or we say moot, because events have already run over, right? Because the Chief Justice has now been suspended, and so he withdrew that injunction suit, and then the court held it as struck out, and then accordingly withdrawn. So, but the substantive case, which is that he wanted the apex courts to declare that the petitions against the Chief Justice was unconstitutional, is still being argued out, and so that's where we are at right now.
Thank you so much, Lord Adosare. He's our court affairs correspondent. Thank you for bringing us these details. Now, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs has cancelled 701 diplomatic and service passports as part of a nationwide recall of official travel documents. A statement issued on Tuesday, that's today, May 6, explained that the affected passports include 341 unreturned diplomatic passports and 360 service passports, which have now been placed on a stop lists and are no longer valid for international travel. The cancellation follows earlier public announcement on January 15 and March 10, 2025, instructing former officials and other categories of individuals to return the official passport. The ministry said all affected passports are to be confiscated if found in use, warning of stricter enforcement at point of entry and exit. Judith Brown is my colleague. He has a copy, or has actually details of this information coming through from the Foreign Affairs Ministry. She joins us live in studio now. Judith, first tell us the category of passport holders which have been affected by this latest move.
Right, and according to the statement, it says that effective today, which is May 6th,
2025 diplomatic and service passports issued to the underlisted category of persons have been cancelled and are not valid for international travel. I'm going to list these categories for you, and the first is the former ministers and their spouses, former members of parliament, former members of the Council of State and spouses, former or retired justices of the superior and lower courts, former regional ministers, metropolitan, municipal and district chief executives, former officers of the state institutions, chairpersons and members of boards, officials of the National Cathedral Project, former non-career ambassadors and dependents, religious and traditional leaders, businessmen and entrepreneurs, former government functionaries, and all other persons holding official passports not currently serving in any official capacity for the state or otherwise holding any position that falls under the requirements of Section 6 and 7 of the Passports and Travel Certificates Act, which 1967, which is NLCD 155. So these are the categories as stated in the statement.
But did the statement also provide how the ministry, together with other state agencies, intend to enforce strict enforcement, as we just heard?
Right, and so as you said earlier, actually, it says that failure or refusal of the other holders to comply with the directive in the underlisted 341 and unreturned diplomatic and 360 service passports bearing the following serial numbers, and they stated all those serial numbers below in that statement, have been hereby cancelled with immediate effect on the instructions of the Honourable Minister. All the affected passports have been placed on that stop list, and so of course if you decide to use that passport, you're on that stop list.
You're putting yourself in trouble
yes,
automatically.
it shall be confiscated from any person who attempts to travel with these passports. So that's according to the statement from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
Thank you so much, Judith Brown.
You're welcome.
Now, the Progressive People's Party, PPP, has commended President John Mahama for his efforts to promote ethical leadership and accountability in public office through the introduction of a code of conduct for political appointees. In a statement issued by its national chairman, the PPP lauded the president's decision to declare and transfer gifted vehicles to the state, describing it as a bold act of transparency that set a strong example for public officials. However, the party expressed reservations over the extension of the asset declaration deadline for political appointees from March 31 to May 7, which is tomorrow, 2025, insisting the original deadline should have been strictly enforced to maintain the directive's credibility. The PPP called for an amendment to Article 286 of the 1992 Constitution to allow public access to asset declarations under the Right to Information Act, eliminating the need for a court order. It also argued or urged a review of the Public Office Holders, that's Declaration of Asset and Disqualification Act 1998 at 550 to mandate public disclosure of assets for key government officials. My name is Beatrice Adu. Thank you very much for joining us today. Log on to shrinews.com for more news. Coming up next is Business Daily with Bismarck Awusa.
Well, good afternoon and welcome to Business Daily on 3FM 92.7 with me, Bismarck Awusa. Coming up, Citi records strongest monthly gain in 2025 as Bank of Ghana's $490 million injection stabilizes forex market. We'll bring you details. Also, Ghana aims for $10 billion in non-traditional exports by 2030. We'll hear from President John Dramani Mahama.
The AEDAC has been established to serve as a high-level platform for strategic coordination, policy coherence, and institutional accountability in our export development efforts.
Plus, Ghana's 2025 budget revenue projections for oil and gold could be hit as World Bank warns of sharp commodity price drop driven by slowing global economic growth. These stories and others lined up for you. Please stay with me. Thanks for your company. Now to the very first story. The Ghana cedi posted its strongest monthly performance this year in April by improved forex liquidity following targeted interventions by the Bank of Ghana. The local currency's sharp appreciation signals growing market confidence in the central bank's stabilization efforts. The following 3 Business News Desk report has more. The Ghana cedi demonstrated significant reliance against major trading currencies in April, following decisive action by the Bank of Ghana to stabilize the forex market. The central bank injected $490 million into the market to ease pressure on demand, a move that analysts say helped calm volatility and restore confidence in the local unit. As a result, the cedi appreciated by 5.3% month-on-month against the US dollar, the highest monthly gain so far this year. This brings the year-to-date gain to 7.44% on the retail market. Against the British pound, the cedi also firmed up, posting a 0.71% appreciation in April, contributing to a 0.79% year-to-date increase. It held relatively steady against the euro, slipping by just 0.3% during the month and narrowing its losses against the European currency to 1.83% for the year. The central bank's interventions reflect ongoing efforts to stabilize the local currency amidst global economic uncertainties and seasonal demand for forex. Market watchers say sustained interventions and increased foreign inflows could further support the cedi's performance in the coming months. And that was a 3 Business News Desk report on the cedi recording strongest monthly gain in 2025 as Bank of Ghana's $490 million injection stabilizes the forex market. Meanwhile, the local currency is selling at about 14 cedis, 60 pesos to $1 in the retail market. Moving on, President John Dramani Mahama has announced plans to grow Ghana's non-traditional export earnings from $3.5 billion annually to at least $10 billion by 2030. He said this will be achieved through value addition, industrial expansion, and fixing long-standing trade bottlenecks. Speaking at the inauguration of the Accelerated Export Development Advisory Committee in Accra, the president noted that Ghana's export sector faces major challenges, with 47% of exporters struggling with delays, high costs, and excessive paperwork.
Nearly 47% of Ghanaian exporters report facing serious trade obstacles, with non-tariff measures and procedural delays accounting for most of these challenges. Over 52% of the complaints relate to costly and time-consuming technical regulations and multiple poorly coordinated agency imposing. An exporter may require up to 16 different documentations to obtain a certificate of origin alone. The Ghana Standards Authority tasked with safeguarding quality is often under-resourced. At the same time, the absence of accredited local laboratories force exporters to rely on foreign testing facilities, raising their cost and causing unnecessary delays. It is for this reason that the AEDAC has been established to serve as a high-level platform for strategic coordination, policy coherence, and institutional accountability in our export development efforts. Our aim is to grow Ghana's non-traditional export earnings from $3.5 billion annually to at least $10 billion by 2030.
And that was President John Dramani Mahama announcing plans to grow Ghana's non-traditional export earnings from $3.5 billion annually to at least $10 billion by 2030. The World Bank is warning that commodity prices are expected to drop sharply by about 12% this year, driven by slowing global economic growth. This development could have major implications for Ghana's 2025 budget, particularly government's revenue projections from oil and gold exports. In the 2025 budget, government is banking on more than $1 billion in crude oil revenue based on a benchmark price of $74 per barrel. But the World Bank says oil prices are likely to fall to around $64 per barrel, raising concerns that the projected revenue may fall short. Meanwhile, Ghana's official gold reserves have soared to 31.37 tons as of April 2025, nearly 4 times the stockpile recorded in May 2023. The Bank of Ghana says this sharp increase is part of its effort to strengthen the cedi and diversify foreign reserve holdings by purchasing more domestically mined gold. There is more in the following 3 business news desk report. Ghana is fast building its gold reserves, reaching 31.37 tons by the end of April this year, up from just 8.78 tons in May 2023. The Bank of Ghana attributes this sharp rise to its domestic gold purchase program, which aims to reduce the country's dependence on traditional foreign currencies and strengthen the local economy. A key driver of this policy is the Gold Board, an oversight body created under President John Dramani Mahama to regulate and formalize the sale of gold by small-scale miners. Gold Board has been instrumental in recent negotiations with 9 large-scale mining firms, securing a deal for them to sell 20% of their gold production directly into the local market. This has allowed the central bank to accumulate more gold without draining foreign exchange reserves. The strategy not only supports financial stability, but also taps into Ghana's strength as Africa's leading gold producer to boost national development. And that was a 3 business desk report. The Ghana Union of Traders Associations, GUTA, noted that an improved stakeholder participation in economic decision-making during its first 4 months of President John Dramani Mahama's administration. The association specifically welcomed government appointing a coordinator dedicated to implementing the 24-hour economy, viewing it as a promising step towards boosting economic activity. Speaking on business focus, Director of Communications at GUTA, Joseph Paddy, urged the government to prioritize the establishment of necessary structures to accelerate the nation's economic transformation agenda.
Why we were excited about this 24-hour economy is that 5 o'clock, the economy of Ghana go to bed, go to sleep. Once upon a time, I was talking to a friend, and he tells me that on Sunday, he makes more sales than any other days in Abusoka, where the spare parts enclave is. Yeah, because the weekday, look at the number of traffic. People find it difficult to patronize those areas. By the weekend, where there's no traffic, he goes after church, he goes to open his shops, and people patronize his schools. So if we have to put all this in place and put the structures in place, put the security measures in place, at a point in time, you walk in town, it's too dark in the system. So if we can put all these structures in place, and then we can have the lighting system, we can have our security alert, and people can trade in the night, why not? Because I believe that if we're able to go ahead with this 24-hour economy, it's going to boost our economy a lot. Because where we go to bed after 5, now you go to all the ministries at 5, everybody's gone home, nothing is operating. How can you grow economy under this dispensation?
And that was Director of Communications at GUTA, Joseph Paddy, ending Business Daily with me, Bismarck Ausa. For more business stories, please check out our website 3news.com. Thanks for your company.